I get with ya? Can I get with ya? Can I get with ya? Can I get with ya? Why you wanna get with me? Cause you got a big B-U-T.
Welcome, y'all, to the Role Player Podcast, Watch Along, presented to you by Swish Cultures. I am Jordan Taylor, alongside my guy, Stanford Gentleman, co-founder of Swish Cultures, and back in the building with us, Anthony Goods, and SEC and ESPN college basketball analyst Richard Hendrix, who's not new anymore and is now a mainstay. Before we get started, though, y'all, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and follow us on all socials with the handle at Role Player Media for the Role Player Podcast and at Swish Cultures for all content related to Swish. Check it out, y'all. The knockout round is officially here, and this is where things start to get a little heated and interesting. As y'all know, the USA finished their group undefeated alongside Canada and Germany, but the USA had the best point differential. That means they drew Brazil, which is probably the weakest of the teams in the knockout round, with their lone win coming against Japan. Like Puerto Rico, Brazil has struggled to score throughout the tournament, and the Brazilians are 0-9 against the good guys all time in Olympic history. And this is the final game of the day. The winner will move on to face Serbia, but there has been a ton of scintillating action throughout the day, Goods.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And we got to start off with Germany, coming up on top over Greece. So Greece's run is over. Giannis can go back and head back home, start preparing for the NBA season. For most of y'all that just saw, also Canada fell to France, which was a very exciting and surprising game. And then we cannot forget Serbia being able to take down who was Serbia just playing? Australia outside of hey, hats off to Josh Giddey and Patty Mills, man. They really did their thing in that game, man. But Serbia, Joker in the overtime. We talked about it off air, Rich. Joker came up big on both ends in that overtime, didn't he?
Both ends of the court. I'm talking about the clutch play for me, not giving up on that lay when Patty Mills had him, taking it to the basket, and he was able to spike it off the rim. But then the steal that he came right back. You rip a guard like Patty Mills out there in transition like that. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You talk about the 3-time MVP and what he was able to do for his team in the clutch. It shows why, he's just a man, and he seems to be hungry to try to get a medal in this tournament.
Man, what does Australia do? Is that the most demoralizing loss of the tournament, or is that the most demoralizing loss for Australia in recent memory?
Yeah, for me, I think so.
I'd have to agree.
You're up by 24 points in the game, 44-20. Pesic calls a timeout and jumps into his team. I mean, what he was able to do to get those guys motivated and come back in. Now, you got to talk about the fight. You talked about Patty Mills. He almost had 30 points in the game, and so did Giddey as well. What they were able to do to get back and get the game into overtime and almost come away with it was still impressive. But at the same time, just too much Joker, too much Serbia, and but it's definitely a disappointing loss for the guys and for Australia.
And I think, too, you have to think about that, Australia, this is a hot time for them, in regards to having this amount of talent on one team that they could bring to an Olympics. We're not going to sit here and act like Australia's been a powerhouse for decades. So I think to be able to lose in this fashion after having the game in control, it's got to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, you knew they weren't going to stay hot the whole game. Patty Mills was 7-9 with 20 points, and as good as he is, you knew that wasn't going to last. And I'll always say the freest money that you can make on this planet is a European game when somebody's up by 20 in the first half. Take the comeback team. It's the freest money you can get, I promise you. That's advice, life advice to anybody listening. Anything I tell you in life, I might be wrong about a lot of things. Rich will tell you, but I know for a fact
For sure.
I know for a fact that is one thing I'm spot on about, man. But this man, all the underdogs did they thing today. Obviously, Serbia beating Australia. Well, I don't know. I guess I didn't check the line on that. Was Serbia the favorite in that game? I believe maybe Australia. I'm not sure who the favorite
I
was
have
in
no
that game.
idea. I don't know who is the favorite. I mean, I'm not as tapped in with the gambling world as you seem to be, sir. But I thought Serbia would have won that game. I mean, coming into it blind, but yeah, I was surprised that Australia got up the way they did.
Okay, well, so we'll just call that one a money line game, and then Greece did push Germany in the first half, and then obviously in the last game, France was definitely an underdog against our brothers from Canada, man, our North American brothers. So sad to see them go down. I guess the question is that I'm taking a long time to get to.
So I saw that loss still coming. I seen it coming, man.
You saw that one coming.
I saw Canada losing, man, and shout out to head of content Julian. I talked to him. I talked to him earlier this morning, man, and I told him I was like, France is gonna beat Canada because Canada don't have no shooters. I think they shot 5 for 20 from 3 this game. Canada doesn't have any shooting, so now if you're not shooting the ball, you got to put it on the deck. And when you got 7-3 back there and 7-2 and all those forwards, I mean, if France has anything, they got a front line, man, and I think that was the problem. Yeah, for sure.
So you that guy then. You're the guy that says you knew it was gonna happen after it happened.
I got a witness. I got a witness before, hours before. I got a witness.
Yeah, I might need you to put forth this witness, but I'll let you have it until for the time being. But I'm in the betting world. USA is 27.5-point favorites. Like I was saying, all the underdogs are making a push. Will the U.S. be a little tight today, or do they cover that easily?
I think the U.S. runs away with it. 27.5 points. I think they're about 30 points better than Brazil. I don't think Brazil has I think they've struggled outside of the win against Japan. They don't have bigs either. I mean, all you have is you got Bruno down there, but Bruno's about the same size as Bron, and half of the USA team. I don't see them. I don't see them keeping this game close at all.
I'm with you. I mean, I think obviously the top seed USA playing good basketball. Brazil doesn't have the players that can keep up with what the United States doing. They seem to be playing really good basketball too. I mean, we talk about what Kevin Durant did in the first game. LeBron's been very, very steady. We talked about a lot of times on the last show, Joel Embiid and his presence. He's going to have to be much more of an enforcer. I think if you move forward in this tournament, and Brazil might give him a little bit of resistance down low. You talked about they might not have the interior play, but he's going to have to be far more efficient. 16 for 14 in the last performance. You got to be a little bit more effective, in my opinion, or if Steve Kerr just might not go to him in the rotation. So, I mean, they have the depth. Obviously, they have the talent. This is the tournament for them to lose, but I want to see good players play well, and that's the main thing I like to see when I'm watching.
Y'all got to stop picking on Embiid, man. Like, this is getting ridiculous. I don't know what y'all got against Embiid. Actually, I hope Embiid calls in the show. See if y'all keep that same energy when he show up. I hope he pull up on the live stream. You going to talk to him the same way?
Absolutely. That's exactly what we do on the live stream on the Role Player Podcast, brought to you by Swiss Cultures. We always keep it real. You bring anybody on the show, we're going to ask you the straightforward questions. And if you need a response, we're going to give it to you.
See, and you see Rich over here trying to change our brand, man. Now we the Keep It Real show. We the Show Love podcast, man. We brought in Rich to keep it real. He's that guy. I'm showing love. I'm not necessarily keeping it real with you. Hey, man, live your life how you want to live. Be happy, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the key to success, ain't it, Rich?
Yeah, I can be happy too, though, right? Let me be real. We'll be real and happy.
Is that what makes you happy?
It does. Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, man, Anthony Edwards had a big game for the Americans the last time out, and then he had a big birthday party after. What y'all think? Is that appropriate? Because we got two resident old heads on here, so I'll let y'all figure this one, man. Is that appropriate, or is that a lack of focus? Was he just enjoying it, or was he just enjoying his life?
I mean, I think it was appropriate. I mean, we're not gonna sit here and act like guys don't go out before games, and it's not even like it was you know, it's not like he's stumbling out drunk playing at noon or anything like that. You know what I mean? He went out, had a good time, and then, you know, went on about his business, man. But shout out to Ava Paris One at on Instagram, man, putting that whole event together. You know, it looked like it came out dope. Gunner was in there, you know, performing and whatnot. It was a nice little surprise party, man. And, you know, I mean, them guys would have been out anyway, so I don't think it matters.
He had a few days to recover, too. How old is he? 23?
23, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Asking
He's
questions.
good. That matters. That matters.
What
right
if he was 30? What if he was 30?
Man, you might need to get your rest. If you're 30, you might need to go in there and go get some rest, man. The body just don't bounce back.
That's when that party turned into a day party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After you pass 30, we got to get this done between 12 and 9.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I seen KD in that party, so what's your take on that?
He was in and out.
You giving him a pass?
And he was in and out. He came in, he was in and out, made an appearance, and he had to bounce. He had to show the young fella some love. They said in a recent article that Anthony Edwards gave KD his flowers, said that's the best player that he likes to watch play. And KD gave the credit to the young man about what he's able to do. So, you know, he had to come show his young fella out on the Team USA team and show him some love. That's all that was. But KD probably went and got his rest for sure.
Yo, JT, was Joel in there?
Listen, Joel been in there during most of the games. He been in there most of the week. The way he been playing, he must been in there most of the week. Rich must be on KD payroll because he giving KD a pass. But I don't know why he giving KD a pass. Because if it was one of us goods, Rich would have been, y'all don't need to be out. Y'all need to be in the bed, getting some rest, icing your knees.
Depending on how old you are. And depending on if you go out there and you play the way. Listen, that's KD. The way the man's playing, he's the all-time leading scorer for Team USA and rebounder, if I'm not mistaken. You got to let that man do what he can do. You know, he seemed real relaxed when he was in there. I saw the photos, so he probably was having a good time.
Yeah, and again, shout out. You had some goods. I interrupted you. My bad.
Nah, I was just saying, like, let's not act like this is the NBA Finals either. You know what I mean? He's got help. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to. Neither one of them guys got to carry the load. I mean, that team's loaded with talent. You know what I mean? So let him live.
No Diddy. Also, shout out to @Ava Paris. Yeah, I thought we was gonna get the invite to that one, man. I'm a little disappointed. We're gonna have to hit her up.
Oh, you didn't get the invite,
man. You didn't get the invite. Stop
you didn't get the invite. My bad. My bad, bro.
Not invited.
Hey, you
not invited.
Me. I got you.
You would have had us standing outside looking goofy. We would have been stuck in the rain. It would have been all bad, man. But no, I look like a dope event. You know me. I'm all for it. Anthony Edwards, live your life. Shout out AE. Minneapolis superstar, so he's from the crib now. He's an honorary member of the city, so definitely not no harm, no foul for me. USA will face Serbia if they win, but that is the third time that they'll have to face Serbia in 14 days. How hard is it to beat a team 3 times in 14 days, Rich?
Extremely hard, but I think, you know, that's on a regular team. That's not a regular team. You got these type players on this team, the talent they have. I think they'll be more prepared. They'll be motivated to try to get to the gold medal game. I think it'll be business as usual. Goods, what you think?
Oh, man, I think I agree. I think it's going to be business as usual. I don't see, like I said, man, in the very, very beginning, man, I don't see any surprises happening in this tournament. I think Team USA is going to win it. I think there will be one close game. I'm not sure when it's going to come, if it's going to be a semifinal or the final, but I think there will be one close game just due to teams playing hard and maybe USA not shooting it as well. But outside of that, it's going to be ugly.
Who'd you say for that silver? Did you think Germany was the one that I have to look at the again? Germany is a team that can make a push.
Yeah, I think Germany gets France out the way. Okay. I don't think that one's going to be that close. I think that's going to be a nice little – I think Germany's going to have a nice little cushion in that game because I don't think France shoots the ball that well from 3 either. And I think France only had 9 threes in this past game, or maybe 10 after Evan hit that last one. So I think France struggles against Germany, and I think Germany gets to that championship game against USA, and they get smacked.
So Germany and the U.S. on a collision course, and the U.S. meant to smack them, according to Anthony Goods. I think that France, the home court, Richmond said it off camera, at home, the French is the home team. I think that maybe, is there some home cooking going into that championship game? I think it's going to be closer. It's tough they just beat France by 20. I don't see them blowing France out again. Maybe they will, but I don't see that again. And then, it can happen when the game gets tight. I think Dennis Schrader is going to, and Franz, the way they create is going to be tough, but we'll see. I might take France just for entertainment value, man.
Nah, because you light skinned. That's why you taking France.
There it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is.
Because I'm light skinned.
Yeah, it's because I'm light skinned. The game just tapped.
The game just tipped off, man. Yes, it did. You tried to interrupt me before I could get something back in, but that's all right. Listen, underway, man. It is USA and Brazil opens the game with a miss. USA going with Steph Curry, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Drew Holiday in the starting lineup, and Devin Booker. So a little bit of a different lineup with Drew Holiday in there. What y'all think about the lineup change early?
Well, he had a DMP in the last game, if I'm not mistaken. So once again, Steve Kerr going to the situation where he had a DMP for a player in the previous game, and now you come out and put him in the starting lineup. So, I mean, I guess that's just what he's doing, as opposed to not figuring out a way to get everybody in the game in these blowouts. I don't, a little baffling to me, but really good player Holiday is, but he seems maybe a little bit out of rhythm.
Man, it's hard. It's hard to get everybody minutes, man. I mean,
you think so?
Think about it, man. How many games you played in overseas where all 12 players touched the floor in 40 minutes?
Yeah, but all 12 players weren't good. Like on a team where you got enough players that everybody is an all-star caliber player, absolutely I played on some teams where everybody got in the game. I mean, if everybody was healthy, we got in the game, but never have I been in a situation where you got some players on the team that, you had some guys on the team who just weren't worthy of being in. That's all that was. So I think he can definitely find a couple minutes for everybody in these games.
But I think, as a coach, you're obviously going to, show a little more love to whoever's playing well in any particular game. So that being said, I mean, this isn't the YMCA, and we're not just going to give guys minutes just to be giving minutes and subbing 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out. So, I mean, if Brian got it rolling and KD got it rolling, okay, that's two players that's probably going to get more minutes than everybody else. And then those last two players at the end of the bench are probably not going to get in the game. It's hard to get 12 guys in it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel what you're saying. I mean, but I don't see how you can go wrong when you got a roster of this much talent. I mean, everybody has the capabilities to come in and be dominant at any point and even play roles. So, and they can defend. So I don't see why you can't give other people opportunities in a 40-minute game. You got 12 players. I just don't see it. I think Kerr could definitely find a way to get everybody some run. A DMP, I don't think there's a reason for it. You've been blowing teams out by 20 points every single game. You got to get them in.
Man, I feel like if I'm Steve Kerr, anybody that's on the Western Conference, everybody that's on the Western Conference team is getting a DMP at some point. I'm trying to start some controversy, kind of get these guys, a little frustrated heading into the regular season. They definitely getting DMPs.
See, that's
look like we lost my man, but we'll hold it down.
So Steve Kerr, a little bit of gamesmanship. Team USA seem to jump out a little bit, 7-4 lead, but Brazil been throwing it inside a little bit. They're trying to make sure they can ride Bruno Caboclo.
I think Bruno's going to be the key to this game for them. I mean, they don't really have an inside presence outside of him. And you're going to need baskets. You of all people would know you need baskets around the rim to win the game.
Man, you better.
Yeah, you ain't just about to win it from the 3-point line, especially if you're Brazil. So they're definitely going to need to keep Bruno involved. And I think Bruno's problem throughout his entire career has been that he hasn't been able to stay focused. His energy comes and goes. I mean, you could look out there, his arms as long as all day. He's got all kind of athletic ability. He could even shoot the three a little bit, but he has to stay engaged for the entirety of this game for Brazil to have any kind of a chance.
Bruno Caboclo, 6'9", plays for Partizan NIS in Belgrade, Serbia. Really good player, and the opportunity to see what he can do against the best of the best. Team USA, as Steph Curry was able to get one in transition. LeBron James with his court vision. I've been so impressed with LeBron throughout this entire tournament, what he's been able to do. I mean, I can't stop talking about the fact that he's 39 years old. He's playing at a high level. The couple of days rest that he has between games allows him to refresh his body. And if he's fresh, then he's still the best player in the world. I mean, maybe y'all can call me crazy. I don't know. Jordan, what do you think?
Well, I'll jump in here and I'll say that if we're gonna talk about LeBron being 39, we got to talk about Marcelino Huertas being 41.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that Marcelino, who just hit a pull-up a few plays ago. I mean, this is a guy he's played in the NBA, he's touched all kind of levels in Europe, and he's still doing it at a high level, playing the ACB Spain, just signed on for another 2 years. With Tenerife. And as you know, Rich, Spain is probably the best domestic league outside of the NBA, outside of the United States. So hats off to him for being such a talent, especially at this age, and such an impactful player on an international level as well as during the season.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, I really look at it, and I've been done playing for 3 years. This guy was playing well before I started. I played against him when I thought was in his prime. I thought he was done when he transferred over from Baskonia and then went over to Barcelona for years. I thought he was at the end of his career, and he is seeming to find a new life down in Tenerife. They've won Intercontinental Championship, Champions Leagues. I mean, he's been a starting point guard. It's not like he's not playing defense or running the show. It's not some reserve situation. He's still moving at a high level and competing with his national team in the offseason. So, yeah, hats off to him. Hats off to all the old guys. You got to get some love.
Let's get the old heads some love on here, man. KD in there, you know what I mean? We got to tip our hats to Bron, but let's also tip our hats to the European players. But real quick, you guys are watching the Role Player Podcast live stream brought to you by Switch Cultures. I'm Anthony Goods. We got Richard Hendricks here analyzing the game. It is 16-6. The USA has jumped out, and Brazil has called a timeout, and we're here talking about these old heads that are still getting it done. We talked about Marcelino Huertas, obviously LeBron, KD, and a lot of these guys still going strong, man. But I mean, going back to the European side with Huertas and what he's doing, I mean, we can't forget to mention Marc Gasol, what he was doing before he retired. Luis Scola, I think he might have been top or even the leading scorer in Italy before he retired. A lot of European talent, still being impactful at this tender age of 40 is impressive to see.
And I played against an old Pau Gasol who was almost 40 years old. That dude was the best player ever played. I'm talking about 7 foot, long arms, outstanding touch. He was heavy. He could post up, go over both. It was nothing you could do. If you foul him, he's shooting free throws at an 85% clip. I mean, it was just unbelievable, what he was able to do. I mean, the skill set. He doesn't get the credit he's really deserved when you talk about all-timers. I don't know who people think is probably the best when you talk about the best of the best when you're talking about European players. But to me, I know a lot of people want to put Dirk 1. I might have to give the nod to Gasol. I really do. I mean, the guy was just unbelievable.
Dang, that's tough. Gasol.
Dirk's one? Or Gasol's one over Dirk?
I might have to. For me, I never felt what it was like to play against Dirk.
You don't believe that.
I'm telling you, man.
You don't believe that in your heart. Because you don't believe that in your heart. Because I know you don't. Because you don't believe that.
No, I do believe it.
You don't believe that. No, now you're going to double down because I'm saying you don't believe it. You don't believe that, man. No, now you're just being stubborn.
Why not?
But Pau Gasol is not. They're not the same. There's levels to this. They're not the same.
What's the levels? I mean, like
the levels is just the ability to lead a team, to be able to entirely dominate a game and have an impact and a winning impact. That was when the game was slower. You could really dominate a game, and when it's harder to do now, I'd say. But back then, there was guys who would really, 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 really dominate a game and win. Then there was guys who would dominate a game and lose. Chris Bosh was one of them dudes who dominated games and lost. Pau Gasol was one of those dudes who dominated games and lost until he went to LA. Dirk was really out there like dominating games and leading teams to championships. Like
Dolo. Dolo.
Was he Dolo,
I ain't gonna
Was
say
he?
he was Dolo. I'm not gonna
Was
take it that far.
He's
was
out there
the
with
man.
Jason Kidd,
He
Steve Nash,
he
Sean
was the
Marion.
bus driver.
Who else
He
on
was the
that
bus.
2011
He was the
team?
bus driver. He was the bus driver.
Okay, I can give you the bus driver. But
All
also,
right.
what about an international play? Are you going to say that the Spanish nationals were that much better than the German nationals?
Do I think the Spanish nationals were that much better than the German nationals?
Because if you talk about
I don't, because I think talent level is marginal.
The 40-year-old Gasol, who's out there, I believe, in the 2015 Eurobasket, averaging, 25 points plus 10, 12 rebounds. I mean, the man's
Are we talking international play alone?
I mean, we're just talking about what he's doing.
Or as a player?
I mean, we're just talking about what he's doing. I mean, he's doing a lot here. I mean, like we're talking about, and did it at an older age. As we talked about, like, as you missed on the break, with Marcelino Huertas, is he out there at 41 years old still doing it? So Gasol on that team for Spain was able to take that team to the 2015 Eurobasket championship. And it wasn't the traditional crew of Spanish guys that had that level of, history and pedigree and achievement.
Himmy back in the building was good, Himmy.
Yay.
Himmy, good. Himmy was in here acting up last time. Good. He was in here.
Was he?
Man. Yeah, he's back, man. Shout out my man Himmy. But yeah, no, I think shout out Huertas too, man, because he's out here 41 and he's got Drew Holiday spinning around in circles, which is crazy. Like, using the pick and roll, which is not necessarily a testament to his athleticism, but more his craft in the pick and roll, specifically in the international game. He's got the floater. He can shoot it behind the screen. A lot of NBA guys would know him as the guy who made the highlight where he got a shot blocked twice and then tried to shoot it over his head.
Yeah, he did.
But he was out there looking goofy. He was out there looking goofy then, but his mastery in the pick and roll. I got cut out too when y'all started talking about Bron. Did y'all see the action that Steph Curry scored off of before you started talking about Bron? It was a pin down in the corner with Devin Booker, but there was still a man in the slot. I didn't see who it was. Might have been Embiid. And it was like a pin down in the corner with Devin Booker, but they kept Embiid in the slot. I don't know if I've seen anything like it. It's kind of creative. Like somebody stayed attached to Booker and Steph just came off free for the layup, which I thought was really creative. I'm not sure. I think the big was attached for Joel Embiid, so he didn't want to drop off because he wanted to be attached for the ball screen. So anyway, getting into the weeds, but that was a nice action by Steve Kerr that I thought was kind of an interesting little wrinkle.
You think that came from Kerr, or you think that came from like Mark Few? I mean, do we just want to give it to Kerr? Did you see that during the season, my brother? Is what I'm saying.
Hey man, I'm about to. I only got a couple of years left in the game, so I can't be talking about the Godfather like that. I might need a job one day. So yeah.
All right, my man Bruno is hooping right now, bro. Bruno's in the building, man. Hit that tray ball. Ooh, and one. It's not a good look.
Oof.
Nah, but Bruno's getting it in, man.
You know what else? You know what else was dope that we didn't see before? It was a while ago. Steph Curry picking up full, man. That's what I love about the international play historically, is you get to see these guys, the best players in the world, almost revert back to like being kids in a sense. Like, when was the last time you seen Steph Curry pick up above the 3-point line? like to see him up there picking up full out there about 75 feet, to me, that's dope, man. That's what I love about international playing. And seeing 12 guys like that get on the floor and all the other teams too, but specifically these guys making $50-60 million a year. Because I'll tell you right now, if I was making $60 million a year, shit, you
ain't doing no dirty work.
Huh?
Oh man, see, that's the problem. Right there. That's the problem right there.
No, that's your problem. I'm definitely a purist, but I'll tell you right now, the way my knees feel right now, no. If I was making $60 million, no, I'm not. What I might do it for Team USA. You know what I'm saying? I'll do it for Team USA. Bron out there, I'll do it for Bron. Say, come on, Bron.
Man, what won't you do for Bron?
A lot. No pause.
Yo, I'm real interested to see how Iago dos Santos just checked in the game at point guard for Brazil. He's standing. How big is Iago? He's probably about 5'10", 5'11" on a good day. But I'm interested to see how successful he's going to be with all this length on the court. You know, you don't typically see this level of length on the EuroLeague floor. So as we saw, he just kind of dribbled into a crowd before the play before this one. But I'm interested to see what adjustments he makes in trying to make an impact on this game.
He's listed at 5'10", plays for Red Star in Serbia. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what kind of impact. He had a hard time right there trying to get a block out there on Bam Adebayo, but obviously many people can't do that.
Man, gotta get them kids out the street. I don't know what Yago. Yeah, okay, we got a little ISO situation. Let's see if he tries to get downhill. He's probably gonna step back. Nah, he gonna hand it off.
Nah, he dribbling for too long now.
Yeah.
Let's see you doing. Nah. You did all that to do a dribble handoff and end up with.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying. Like, nah, you gotta. That shit one time. All right, Jordan. Here go a question. You got AD on an ISO first quarter. You down 13. What are you hitting them with?
I got AD on an ISO down 3.
Down 13. 13 first quarter. Same scenario. What are you hitting AD with?
I just checked in the game.
Yeah, you like Yago. Yago dribbled it and handed it off. What is Jordan Taylor doing in that same situation?
I'm either hitting you with a full speed. Well, it depends. At 34, my age now. I need all the details now. In my mind, a young me, if I'm him and I'm out there at that level, I'm full speed. And I'm getting into a hezzy pull from 3, but I'm gonna see how he reacts. If he reacts,
he gonna block that.
Then no, he's not. No,
he's not.
No, he's not.
Hezzy pull.
No, he's not. I'm going full speed, but I'm running. I'm backing all the way up. And I'm coming running full speed and running into a 3. If he don't back up, then I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I'm not putting the ball in front of him. I'll tell you that much right now. I'm not doing that. Man. So yeah, probably something like that. I'm not stepping back. Now,
AD said he was the best defender in the league, not getting enough respect when you talk about the defensive player of the year. I mean, he's ready for the hezzy pull, I would think. You sitting on that if you the big.
No Diddy.
Hey, and looking at the comments, that we got Hemi. He talked about, hey, got tough question. He said that Gasol led Spain team was impressive. We're going to have to get Hemi. Might do a little new feature today on the show, on the Role Player Podcast, brought to you by Switch Cultures. Hemi's really active in the chat. Might go and see if we can go into the bench and pull a few guys onto the live stream. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man, we might have to dip into the stands, man, and get some of these guys in here. But you know, we got a very special guest down backstage. I'm gonna let Jordan do the honors as we bring this gentleman on.
Yeah, man. Before we get into the stage, man, we got a very special guest with us, man. A BAL champion 2023, the BAL. That's the Basketball Africa League most valuable player and all BAL first team in 2023. And also South Sudan's favorite son, man, also from Minneapolis, Noni Omot. Noni, what's good, man? Can you hear us? You over there at the game, right?
Hey. Yeah, I'm here right now. Y'all can hear me, or is it too loud?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Flip the screen. Give us. You sitting courtside? You big time. You sitting courtside? Where you at?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you what's going on, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, see, and I forgot the most important moniker of all. Okay, all right. You got the rest of the South Sudan crew with you, or is it just you? Just you in there?
Just a couple of my teammates. Are here. Everybody else is doing whatever. You know what I mean?
All right, beautiful.
I want to thank y'all for having me on here. You know, I'm honored to be on here. I appreciate you, JT. I know I haven't met these other guys, but hey, JT's a good dude, and I appreciate you for having me on.
No doubt, man. We got Anthony Goods here, Richard Hendrix, Noni Omot with us. I forgot the most important moniker of all, Olympian, man. Olympian. Tell us what that means, man. You obviously from South Sudan, also by way of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. Talk to us about what it's meant in your experience to go through that with South Sudan as your first experience at the Olympics.
Man, bro, I can't even express the feeling of it, man. It's been a crazy journey, you know, obviously being the youngest nation in the world, you know, just gaining independence 13 years ago, you know, just to have all this happen so fast. It's been a blessing, you know, and I wouldn't want to do everything that we did with nobody else, you know. I've had a crazy path, crazy career, you know, and, you know, a lot of ups and downs, but this has definitely been the highlight of my career because I feel like I really put myself, you know, back on the map. And, you know, I've always had the ability to play, but, you know, obviously going up against the best in the world, at the Olympics, you know, and being able to show people and showcase my talent at this stage has been amazing, you know.
Yo, I wanted to ask, like, as a hooper, you know, we always want to play our best games in the biggest moments. And I think, you know, outside of winning a championship, I mean, there's no bigger moment than playing against the best players in the best league in the world, man. So what was that feeling like? You know, obviously, you know, you want to win the game, but what was that feeling like during the game, knowing that you're playing well and that you're competing with these guys that are obviously so accomplished?
No, for sure. So to be honest, an opportunity, you know, obviously I feel as if I belong at the highest level. You know, I feel like I'm an NBA player. I can help a team right now. So, you know, obviously going into it, a lot of people told me, you know, you go into the Olympics and, you know, you do what you've been doing and you continue to stay consistent. You know, a lot of things can turn around and a lot of things can help you. So my mindset going into it was, you know, obviously I wasn't starstruck. It was more so of just like, you know, I belong. So as soon as I went out there, you know, I just had to tell myself, like, I'm one of these guys. You know, obviously I just never got the opportunity. But no, it was definitely a great experience to be able to play with, you know, obviously, you know, Team USA is the best team in the world. They got the best players in the world. And just to be able to go toe to toe and obviously compete and show, you know, my capabilities of what I can do and what, you know, I bring to it, you know, a team and whatnot, it, you know, it helped me and it helped everybody else. And it really, you know, the whole world was watching. So it just kind of just, you know, gave me that confidence again that, you know, I really do belong, even though it hasn't happened. You know, the journey's been tough, but, you know, that right there just kind of put a staple on it to just show, like, you know, I can do it and I belong, you know?
Hey, Noni, in the first game, man, you know, y'all did so well to come up with the close game where you almost won the game against Team USA. But you talked about your confidence picking up. But in the next performance, you come out there with 24 points and a big-time performance. Did the confidence level for you go up another notch after you'd already competed against Team USA? And what do you say about your big point performance in the second game against them?
Oh, for sure. You know, obviously, my first game against them, I had got hurt. Well, I had got a bloody nose, so I was out for a while, so I couldn't get back in the game. I started off the game really well. And obviously, you know, I was very upset that I couldn't play because of what happened during the game. But going into the game, obviously playing them when we played them in the Olympics, you know, obviously my confidence was high already just because you know we played them already, and you know, for me it was basically, you know, I figured that USA was obviously going to take a lot of teams lightly just because it's Team USA. But at the same time, you know, I just went out there and I just competed, you know, and I actually remember last summer I was at my coach's wedding and I was having a conversation with KD because that's a close friend of his. And he told me, you know, like, you know, I told him, you know, I never got a shot in the league. And he was basically saying, like, yo, if you do what you're supposed to do in the Olympics, you know, against us, you know, you're going to get your shot. So, you know, that stuck to my mind, you know, the whole summer, the whole season. So I was thinking about that the whole time. So I kind of had them circled, you know, because it's like, obviously, this is where everyone. My confidence going into the game against them was high, you know, and you know he gave me his respect, and a lot of the guys also gave me their respect as well. So you know that gave me more confidence as well.
Man, Role Player Podcast, Watch Along, brought to you by Swish Cultures, Jordan Taylor, Anthony Goods, Richard Hendrix. We got the Olympian from South Sudan, Noni Omot, with us. For those that don't know, Noni from Matamidi High School in Minnesota, and then a long path to get to where he's supposed to be and still going, man. Baylor was the last destination in college. And now, man, listen, you tweeted something about anybody that takes a shot on you, they won't regret it. And I believe that. I've been knowing you for a long time, been watching you from afar and up close. What did you mean by that? Who was you talking to? And have you heard any feedback yet from high-level European teams and NBA teams?
I really do feel like I belong. You know, I bring action.
A little bit of technical difficulties right now, but stay with us. Noni at the game, the U.S. game, watching. He's up close. He's front row in 35-21.
Yeah, he might be having some service issues. You can imagine all the cell phone towers are exhausted at this point with everybody in that arena.
I hope we get him back because I wanted the answer to that question because Noni's a 6'7" long athletic wing fixed the mold of an NBA wing these days. So I really was interested in hearing his answer to that question because it would be exciting. You see it all the time though. You kind of cutting out. But yeah, you see it all the time now with guys who have big games against the US. And then they start getting a lot of love. You know, you've seen it. Who was your guy last year, Goods? Who was your guy last year, the guard?
The guard from where?
The guard last year, or in Eurobasket last year, in the Worlds last year, that was killing. He ended up tearing his ACL.
Oh yeah, Zagers, Artur
yeah.
Zagers. He ended up signing with Fenerbahce. He ended up signing with Fenerbahce after the World Cup, and tore his ACL, and he'll be back this year. He's definitely on the depth chart.
Okay, all right, Noni, you back with us? You can hear us?
Looks like we might have him back.
Had him back for a second.
Yeah. Shout out to our production team, Jamal, getting things done in the back.
Yeah.
Trying to get them back on scene. But let's look a little book over here in the comments. We still have more people popping in the comments. We got Noni Omot with us. We got to make sure anybody got some questions here. This is your opportunity on the Role Player Podcast to chime in and get a question for an Olympian who's had big performances on the highest stage.
Yeah, man.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, now he's back.
He's back. You can hear us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad, yo. The service. The service down here is crazy. My bad.
Yeah, but yeah, you were saying
yeah. I was going to say, to piggyback on your question, what did you ask me again? What did you say? What was the question
about
again?
your tweet? Your tweet said that any team that takes you, they won't regret it. So just talk about who you was talking to, and have you heard anything from high level international or NBA teams? Yeah, a little bit. We can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. So to be honest, that was just me, just wanting. That's just me wanting, obviously to get that chance. I never got a chance in the NBA. A lot of people have told me that, I'm an NBA player. I belong in the league, and honestly, it's just, my journey and my long awaiting wait. I just feel like my opportunity of getting that shot is now. I'm hungry. I'm a hard worker, and I'm willing to do anything to help the team. So for me, it's just basically, trying to get that shot, get that opportunity that I've always wanted in the NBA. That's everybody's dream to play in the league. Obviously, that's where the best players in the world are. There's a lot of guys, overseas that are capable of playing in the NBA. There's guys that, have been in the NBA that are overseas. And for me, I just feel like I want to get that opportunity and just to be able to help out a team. And, obviously that was kind of just me, going out and kind of telling teams like, you won't regret if you do give me a shot, if you give me a chance, just because, the work has shown, and over the years I've gotten so much better, and I still feel like, I got a lot more room for improvement. I haven't even reached my potential yet, not even close, and I just think that I can help a team,
Definitely feel that. Hey, Noni, let me ask this. We're sitting here courtside as Team USA is up 40-21, a little bit over 6 minutes to go in the game. Are you able to check this game out? And what do you think has to happen for Brazil if they can get back in it? Y'all are the team that almost cracked the code. As far as the X's and O's and execution, what needs to take place to give this Team USA team a challenge for gold?
To be honest, the reason why I think we were the best matchup for USA is because, in a way, we have similarities on how we play. We get out in transition, and we make a lot of threes. And I think that's the key, and obviously rebounding as well. USA, they have size, they have length, but obviously getting out in transition and getting points in transition and making shots is going to be key, and obviously getting stops as well is the most important thing. It's going to be hard just because it is Team USA. They got the best players, but I think that was our key, and the key to us going into the game was just we gotta capitalize and not make as many mistakes because they're going to capitalize on turnovers and whatnot. So I think that's what helped us a lot.
Yo, if there's any chink in their armor, if there's any weakness that Team USA has, what do you think it is?
To be honest, I think for Team USA, it's tough because you got to think everybody on this team is the guy. So, obviously nobody on this team is really used to being a role player. So when you have to come and obviously you got the best players in the world playing on one team, I think it's kind of tough because, guys aren't used to playing that role because they're usually the guy with the team that they play for.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I think that was kind of one of our concerns heading into the Olympics that we talked about here on the Role Player live stream was that Team USA was going to have to find roles, you know what I mean, and kind of be in a more low usage role than they're probably used to, and that takes some time. It takes some time to gel. It's not like something you could just kind of turn on and off. How did you guys adjust with your roles? Obviously, you guys have played together for a while now in various competitions, but what were some of the things Royale Ivy was doing to kind of get you guys to buy into your roles and feed you guys confidence?
To be honest, Roy was once a player. So, I always tell people all the time, like as a player, when you have a coach that has played before, and he instills confidence in everybody, obviously, if you don't take a shot, he'll take you out, So he kind of gives everybody the green light. Obviously, guys have certain roles, but, he says, if you're open, shoot it. If you don't shoot it, you're coming out the game. So, obviously, when a coach has confidence in you, I mean, there's nothing like it, And I feel like that's one thing about Roy because he was once a player. And he knows how it is, as a player, when you have a coach that believes in you and trusts in you and, you're not getting taken out for little things or making one little mistake. Brazil's on a run right now.
Yeah.
Brazil is on the run right now, man.
But yo, my
bad. 41 Savage going crazy.
What you were saying,
41 Savage.
Yeah, he talking about Huertas, man. He talking about Huertas. Hey, man, I could tell that you do deserve a shot on the court, in the league, and off the court because you meet it. Goods tried to trip you up with that USA question, man. You can't ask him that because what's he gonna say? That man trying to get in the league.
Hey man, maybe he saw something we did it. That's all. Maybe he saw something we did it.
JT, say that again. You just cut out.
Nah. I was gonna ask you, was y'all talking spicy on the court? That clip popped up about KD talking at the free throw line. Was there a lot of back and forth, man, or not?
Nah, so he was talking to the coach. Him and our coach are really good friends.
Okay.
So the UT
Royale
connection.
Ivy.
Yeah, UT connection, and then on top of that too, that was his rookie when he played for OKC. So him and KD are really good friends. But I ain't gonna lie, KD was talking his shit though. I'm not gonna lie, but he has every right. He has every right to though. Obviously what he's done in his career. Oh shit! Yo, they wilding right now.
we getting live reaction at the USA Brazil game from Noni Omot, man. Hey,
flip it around and let us see some of the action, Noni. What's going on? What's the view that you have? Show the people what you can see courtside.
See, he back there first row. Yeah, this the live stream. This our live stream, man, because we ain't got production rights with NBC, so this the live stream we getting. It's a little grainy, but shout out Noni for bringing us the live stream, man. First ever
8-point game,
true live stream, 8-point game. Brazil, man, making a comeback,
it's
man.
Right when Noni gave his analysis of what needed to take place, they got to look at Steve Kerr. Is he look a little nervous? Is it something that he needs to make an adjustment?
Making shots. They started making shots.
Man, y'all give 41 Savage his flowers, man. He out there doing it right now.
I know. Hey, everybody talk. Look, we got the fan view and all that. People starting to rev up. Everybody talking about now is make or miss. Go ahead.
I was at the Canada France game right before this. That game was crazy.
Yeah, I believe it.
The rest were bad. I'm not gonna lie.
The rest was bad. there was a lot of chatter. There was a lot of chatter about the rest between in the Serbia and y'all game versus Serbia, man. I know Lual, Dang, and Coach Ivy, they was talking about that. Is there a need for African refs in the FIBA competitions, and why do you think there aren't any yet?
100%. I think it's just really the simple fact that Africa hasn't gotten its respect yet. When you think about it, when people talk about high level basketball, they talk about certain countries in Europe. They talk about the United States. They talk about Canada, Australia. So it's just simply the simple fact that there's no respect there yet. So it was a tragedy because honestly, if the game would have been called fairly, I think we would have won the game for sure. And Serbia kind of knew that too. They were letting them get away with a lot of stuff, man. It's tough because we had them down to the ropes, but it's kind of hard when you're going 8 against 5. It's impossible. You damn near got to play a game. But, yeah, I think in the future, obviously with everything that we're doing, I think people are going to start taking Africa more serious. Granted, a lot of us were immigrants and we grew up in some grew up in Canada, some grew up in the States, some grew up in Australia. So we grew up learning how to play basketball a different way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't skill set. I think how changing, how the game is evolving and whatnot. That's gonna be the hot zone, man. Because there's South Sudan has the tallest people in the world. So I don't know, like people don't know that. Obviously, prior to this whole Olympic thing, nobody knew where South Sudan was, knew about South Sudan. But now a lot of people are starting to we walk around here and they're just super inspired by everything we're doing and stuff like that. And I feel like we just changed that movement, so that's gonna help refs in the future and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nah.
Noni, moving forward to the next Olympics, how dangerous can this team be? I mean, obviously, all they see is you're scratching the surface. You've obviously been able to take the top dog all the way to the wire. You won a game. You got that off your belt. You have a nice core. You have a great coach that you seem to like. You have a general manager that's got the program going. I mean, what's going to be the goal for the next one? Can it be get a medal?
To be honest, I was very confident with this year. I thought we were good enough to get a medal. And what people don't understand either is that we haven't been together long. A lot of these teams have been together for a long time. They grew up playing with each other. A lot of these guys, have played on the same professional teams and whatnot. And when you have a national team from grassroots to obviously the chemistry is a lot different. So 2028 Olympics, honestly, I'm gonna be an OG by then, but I think I'm gonna still have a little juice left. But we're gonna be really good, man. I mean, obviously, you guys seen, a lot of people that we just played recently in these Olympics, and just prior, just we're talking about how fun we are to watch. This just the way we play, our style of play. It's something that a lot of people are like, that's what basketball, like, that's how basketball. I think in the future, man, it's gonna be scary, man. We're gonna have the chance, obviously more experience now. This I think it's gonna be really exciting to see. I think we're gonna be able to compete for a gold.
A little bit of
So
technical difficulty right there. There he's back. There you go. We heard you. We caught the gist of that little bit of technical difficulty. One thing I thought was dope, man. I got to come check y'all out against the UK as well at the Copper Box Arena. And I thought it's dope how, as young as your country is and you guys burst on the scene, the fan support y'all have is unbelievable, man. Like the support that y'all get, and even y'all fans are long limb, man. Y'all fans tall as hell too. So it's I was sitting next to a young lady at the game, and she was tall as hell.
I'm telling you, bro. 6, you're gonna be like, yo, it's insane. It's
little more
Yeah.
technical difficulty, but hey, man, I got a chance. I got a chance to follow along last year after the Worlds, and I follow Noni on Instagram. So I got to see some of the I don't even know what the word is for it was crazy in the streets out in South Sudan, man. When y'all returned, that didn't even look like a party. That looked like something different. It was unbelievable. The people in the streets to welcome y'all back to South Sudan after the Worlds last year. You don't get it was beyond even some of the events you see after Super Bowls or World Series like that. It was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, now you
Yeah.
back.
You can hear me?
Yep.
All right, but I was saying though, man, we have the best fans, man. After everything our country's been through, man, just to see positivity being spread around and people knowing now it's a special feeling, before.
Yeah, a little bit more,
So
man. Yeah, Noni is cutting out a little bit, man. But listen, I had one more question. You cutting out a little bit, Noni. So I got you cutting out. Can you hear us? So I had one more. I had one more question for him. I wish I could get it, but Noni Omot with us, the Role Player Podcast Watch Along, brought to you by Swish Cultures, Jordan Taylor, Anthony Goods, Richard Hendrix. As I follow along, Noni Omot, that's at Noni Omot 21 on Twitter. Be sure to check him out, man. Young up and coming player, 24 points against the U.S. in this Olympics, first time Olympian with South Sudan. I want to ask, man, one thing that people don't know. He said one thing that stuck out to me was what his country's been through. And I don't know much about it. I wish that we had better service because I would love for him to tell that story. But we'll have to have him back on the show, especially for a Role Player Podcast, and get that information when we have better situation. But 52-36, man, 2:20 left. Huerta still getting to it. That's air ball. See, and he tried to isolate Embiid, man. He tried to isolate Embiid. That's crazy. Brazil made a quick run. What y'all seeing in the game so far?
I think they're hitting shots. So you talked about the creativity. Huertas, he was able to get a few assists. Some guys were knocking him down, but they just settled down in this game. I mean, but oh my goodness.
Count that.
Goodness gracious.
Count that.
As we see Tatum trying to go up strong, but cleaned up once again there. Embiid. See, Embiid's he's just too much of a load. I mean, you know, when you got that type of size, man, you got to go ahead and impose your will. I mean, we talked about this so much. Like, you can't sit around and allow people to just, you know, letting them off the hook with the jumpers. You got the biggest physique in the whole tournament. Make them feel you.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think Joel has already made an impact in this game, and I think for Brazil, you know, they got back into this game making shots. You know, Huertas is getting wherever he wants to on the pick and roll, and I think that's going to be key for them. But shout out to the bigs on Brazil, Bruno Caboclo, and you know, and all the other players. They're actually out there setting screens. They hitting guys. So you know, Drew Holiday is as good as he is pressuring the ball, man. I mean, we all fell victim to a hard screen, but Brazil's out there playing physical. They're playing with a lot of energy, and if they keep this up, you know, and they can make shots, I think they could try to hang around as long as possible. But I mean, it's tough to do for 40 minutes.
Now, the one thing that I don't see that a lot of teams use is like the ability to understand the time and situation. You just cut that lead down to 11 with under 5 to go. And you're going to have to be able to play a different brand. You hit the shots. You got to know, hey, maybe the well is going to go dry. You're not going to continue to hit these threes and get back into it as you want. So it might seem like an open shot. You've had some bigs trying to shoot them, but they're leading to transition baskets for Team USA. You got to slow it down because you had an opportunity. You want to go into half with this thing around 10 points, but now you've turned it back up and Team USA is up 23. So, I mean, it's just a situation. If you're Brazil, you got to be smarter when you are playing with trying to come back and making sure you got to be able to understand that your run is going to be over.
Hey, man, you got to get kicked out of the tournament if you roll it out a 41-point a 41-year-old point guard to start.
No.
You gotta get kicked out.
You need a favorable
Yeah,
draw. You got
kicked
an
out of
old
the
guy.
team.
You need a favorable draw. That's what you need. The older guy you bring, you get a better draw.
Rich, I'm an ageist, man. Look, first of all, the older guy you bring, you should really have to give up points because that's ridiculous. 41 years old, starting in the Olympics, and then you running around talking about, this is the best basketball in the world. No disrespect, the man, he's cold, he's tough. I like his game a lot, but 41, starting in the Olympics, that's what you co-signing? That's what you stand for?
I'm not gonna say he's cold, but I'm gonna say he's effective. And at 41, if you're still effective, we got to roll with you. You think he's cold? I think
in his history, he was cold in his days. He was cold.
He's all right. I mean,
he's always been solid, but I think we're in this day and age, man. You got good players and you got bad players, man. And I think you look at what he's done at the international ACB level. I think he's better than what a lot of teams are putting out there at point guard on the international level. So I'm not mad at it.
LeBron James with a second perfect first half of the tournament, 4 for 4, 9 points, make it 10 at the free throw line, man. Make sure y'all go drop your comments, man. Y'all want to join the show? Come talk to us, man. Give us your opinion. We'll get into the bench. But yeah, make sure to follow along. Role Player Podcast presented to you by Swish Cultures. They keep attacking this switch though with these guards, man. Huertas and Yago dos Santos are trying to attack Embiid. Embiid even sitting down playing a little defense. You definitely don't.
He wasn't he, Jay? I saw it.
Yeah, Embiid sitting down. What? Show Embiid some. Embiid heard y'all talking, man.
Yeah. And look what happened now.
Heard y'all
he just put his hand up, asked for a sub, didn't he?
No, he said good pass.
He heard us talking.
Good pass. He said good pass. Listen, man, you don't got it. Hating is not popular no more. In this generation, this the Show Love podcast, Rich. I don't know how many times I gotta tell you that.
Oh, showing love. We just talked about he was moving his puppies.
Sideline OB.
Oh my lord. Oh nah. Shout out Leo Mindle. That's a hell of a pass and a hell of a finish, man.
Yeah, that's tough. First half over.
27.5 was the spread. The U.S. has covered 27, or at least tied 27 at the half, man. I don't know. This is getting out of hand. I don't know how many followers we're going to have for this game, man. I don't know how many people watching this 3:30 on a Tuesday, whatever it is. Y'all might as well go back to work.
Yeah, it's about to get ugly, man. It's already getting ugly. Yo, real quick though, what y'all think about Team USA's uniforms compared to the historic classic jerseys of the past? What do y'all think about these uniforms? Are they going to be as iconic as, let's just say back 96 Dream Team, all the historic USA jerseys?
I don't think anything can surpass the 92 team. That's just what it's going to be. It's just a certain time period, man. Come on, man. The logo was it just was what it was. It just was what it was. I mean, like
that was some graffiti with stars.
Yeah, but it's classic. It's classic. I do like this one better than recent years. The one that was the diamond or whatnot. What year was that? 2012. Kobe had. I do like it better than those. I will say that.
I used to like.
What do you say, Jake?
Do you like any sequels?
Man, I don't watch movies.
Do you like
Leroy Jones, man?
Leroy, man, shut your ass up, Leroy. No, I'm just playing Leroy. I didn't. What you mean? I ain't hate on the 41-year-old.
We're glad to have you back, Leroy.
Yeah, welcome back, Leroy, man. Welcome back, man. But I didn't hate on the 41-year-old. I hated on the people who brought the 41-year-old. I said he got game.
Yeah,
let the record show. But good, you about to say something about the jerseys, man.
Yeah, man. I think I like the 96 jerseys. If y'all remember that it kind of had like the little 6 and it was kind of like a little bit of a cursive action. I thought those were dope. I mean, I think jerseys back in the day were just more popular anyway. You know what I mean? I
better.
think the fit, everything, just the way, it would hang off the shoulders. Everything now is just so tight. Like I don't see cats wearing jerseys like they used to.
They got too much into the technology. You know what I'm saying? When the technology started to come in about the performance, the jerseys got worse. When you got the braid on the side, you got the better waistband and all that kind of stuff. The material with the mesh with the little holes in it, it looked better. And it looked better if you were just rocking it as a casual. You don't want to wear this kind of stuff walking around, this high performance skin tight stuff, just rocking it to school. Like that's not it.
You think they put the same high performance technology in the jerseys that they put on the shelf?
Well, I think the look of it looks. I think they look cheaper when you talk about they're lighter. I mean, you played in a time when the jerseys were much heavier, and then now they're paper thin. I mean, the jersey used to feel like a real official jersey, stitched in numbering, lettering on it, like the braid that come along the side. All of that kind of stuff was far better of a quality when you're talking about a level of not performance, but just of talking about look. If you look at this stuff now, man, these things are just like the practice jersey. It's no different. When you watch the NBA Summer League, those Summer League jerseys look like the regular jerseys. The material is not even the same. But if you go back 15, 20 years ago, the Summer League practice jersey was significantly different than what the game jersey was. And when you start doing things for technology, I think that's just how the new jerseys are. They look cheap.
I don't agree. I think they look nice. I like the new jerseys, man. I think the tight fit looks better. I go back and look at who is my man from St. Bonaventure, played overseas for years. Really good point guard.
Marcus. Let's see. What was I going to say? Marcus. Man, I can see his name. I can see him. I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
Jamal.
Jamal. Yeah, Jamal. Get us right, Jamal. Man, Molly Mall back there on the doing his thing with the production. Shout out Jamal. But listen, that looked crazy. This man was wearing his jersey at his ankles, bruh. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, how are you gonna sit here and say, put the picture up, please, for Leroy and Hemi specifically? Put the picture up so you can see how crazy this look and how crazy y'all sound talking about this look better. Come on, Jamal. There you go.
If we look here,
Marcus Green.
Green. No, pull up the Marcus Green jersey. I ain't asking about that. Pull up the Marcus Green jersey. I ain't asked for the Dream Team jersey. You know what I'm saying? Pull this up right. Look at this. Look at this. And y'all over here talking about that look like better quality. Click on it. You zoom in.
Jersey. That's one thing to talk about. It's one thing to talk about the materials. It's one thing to talk about the materials. It's another thing to talk about the fit.
That's
not good material. That is not good material.
Oh,
that joint look heavy. Heavy. And he got that joint tied up too.
You know what I'm saying?
He got that joint choked out.
How you out there showing no body? Bro, just got out there with a jersey and some arms, and y'all talking about that look better.
The material of the jersey was better.
For who?
Man, it was a better quality. It was more durable. It didn't look cheap. The numbers and letters were stitched in.
Why was it more durable?
Ironed on stuff.
Why was it more durable?
Because it was stitched in.
Why? Who said that makes it more durable? See, that's what you be doing. You just be making stuff up off the strength of being. Yes, you have no prove it.
It was more durable. You had a higher thread count.
Look, see,
had far more details on it. Far more details on the uniforms of the past. Far more. Performance is just taking over too much.
I don't know. I'm kind of in favor of performance, man. I'm
about to say, see,
especially on the sneaker side of things. I remember in the beginning of my career, I had a pair of the Kobe 6s when they first came out. And I didn't wear them until my last year. And once I put those things on, I couldn't wear them anymore because I got so used to the technology and sneakers of 2019 or 2020 at the time, man. So I think technology is a good thing, but I do agree that the fit of jerseys back in the day were better to wear outside. You know what I mean? To wear, to games or wherever the hell you're going. And I think the change in fit, I think, probably has a lot to do why we're not in necessarily the jersey era that we were back in the day with the Mitchell and Ness and everything like that.
I mean, I think they've done a great job of combining a little bit of the old school with the new, man. It looks good. It definitely don't look like that tight fitting stuff where you dudes had getting wedgies and all that while they was playing. That was crazy. And then you went to the baggy stuff that was cool for a minute, and then they got out of hand with that. And then, now I just think it's a nice little mix, man. I think guys get you the option. Shea does his little swaggy, his little thing with it, rolls up the shorts. Other guys, let it hang down a little bit more. But yeah, that's definitely why old heads had to use post players, because we couldn't go through the legs, couldn't do nothing, couldn't dribble the ball, man.
Nothing. That's why Mark Jackson. That's why you had to back a back a point guard down from half court. But Mark Jackson and them had them baby shorts though.
Yeah, they did.
They had them baby shorts. Then we had shorts that were too big, and now they're going back to the baby shorts. Actually, you don't see it as much anymore, though. I felt like that trend is kind of leaving basketball now as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Shea trying to keep it alive, but he rolled his joints up. Did you see that Stephen Bardo from the late 80s Fighting Illini team? They actually say they were the ones that brought baggy into style. Kendall Gill and co. And I don't know if anybody on this live is going to know who Kendall Gill is, but with the Chicago Bulls. But they said they're the ones that brought the baggy in, and then the Fab Five just got credit for it.
Who else was on that team? Nick Anderson?
I believe Nick Anderson, Kendall Gill,
yeah. Steve Bardo, yeah.
Glenn Blackwell, Stephen Bardo, yeah, a lot of old people, man. Old people.
Listen, let me tell you this. What about performance, man? What about the old warm-up tops? The whole warm-up, the whole thing. Button-ups, long sleeve.
Breakaways.
Oh,
All that. You offer all of that? You like the T-shirts and just the shorts now? No pants?
I was never a big jersey. I like the designs. The best jersey era was like the late 90s in terms of design and how they looked. Like it was the
era we talking about, eh?
Nah, but I'm talking about strictly like they weren't better quality. They just look cool, like the old Timberwolves jerseys, the Sonics, like they look those jerseys. But even then, back then, I don't know how cool they look. I think again, it's just a fashion thing now. It's retro now, so I think that you pay homage to those jerseys. But there's a couple jerseys that people might be doing the same with from fast forward 15 years. People might be talking about those sleeve jerseys that LeBron won his title in Cleveland with, and say those jerseys was dope. Like nobody was talking about them Grant Hill Pistons jerseys at the time, talking about these cold.
Nah, they were.
I don't know.
Oh, were they?
I had one.
Yeah. Nah, don't. Hey, Grant Hill had everybody. He had the black community wearing felines.
Yeah.
Grant Hill couldn't do no wrong back in the day.
But I don't know. Again, I don't know if they was hype about the design or if they was just hype about Grant Hill. Like, because remember, people was wearing the city jerseys. People was wearing the city. Remember when the jerseys went super simplistic? I had the blue Laker jersey with the cursive writing that was mad simple, like super. The swingman, like that jersey didn't look cool, but I thought it was fire.
No, I mean I think in the 90s too, everybody had the pinstripes was in, right? You had pinstripe suits, you had pinstripe jerseys.
I love it.
Everybody
was wearing pinstripes?
Man, yes.
You still wearing pinstripes?
Man, listen, all that stuff need to come back. I might be the one to bring some of that back. Listen, here's the deal. Here's the thing. What I'm saying, I'm not saying from a standpoint of the performance of those jerseys. They definitely held more moisture. As my career went on, those jerseys were heavier in college than it was when I was playing. But if I'm talking about the quality of the materials, materials was a better quality. I had jerseys as a professional that just felt cheap. And it was Nike. They were reputable brands, but the technology of it, it's like they're tight on your skin. They might have the absorption situation, but
you was in Europe. They probably was cheap.
For me, it was this. It was the point of when you climbed up levels in your career, the quality of the jersey became better. The things that you wore were better. You know, when you're playing young days and you move up to get to be in college, you see the pros, they come out and they warm up in the full warm-up suit. The pants, the long button-up shirt, the jacket, like all of that stuff to me plays into the fact of you being a professional now. And now the professionals don't elect to do those things. Coming to the game with the suits on, coming to the game, you know, looking a certain way. You have a job to do. What's the difference from them coming down? You look like, you know, in the post-game press conference, you look just like it was an AAU tournament.
People like, don't come to the office. People don't come to the office looking like that. People don't go to the office dressed in suits.
They did. That's I think things have just changed in this demographic. But I do.
Coaches on the sideline ain't dressing up either. They all.
I'm saying, what we wearing suits for?
The pandemic changed a lot of that, but it still doesn't mean that people look back on it and say, "Man, guys look nice." Listen, Jamal, see if you can get us some content up, and you go back and look at Pat Riley and all those guys when he was over there on the bench coaching for the Lakers. You can't tell me that it's not something about that. The way that
pull up Russell Westbrook and how he pulling up to games, man. You can't tell me pull up Russ, pull up Russ, man. Say, let me see what Russ look like, man.
I mean,
I don't think Pat might have looked smooth for that time, but I mean, this is your
Pat will be looking like a plum fool now.
Yeah. We ain't gonna go there.
You think Pat Riley pull up on the sideline looking like that now? People are gonna be like, "Oh, you look good."
Pat's still looking good. He's still coming in.
He's changed his style. He wear the tight fitting suits. That
come on.
That man. Don't look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Come on, man. Well, what are we talking about here?
Look at that. That's fashion. That's high fashion. How many times I told you, Rich, get right or get left, man?
Man, please. I don't see you with none of that on right now.
Get right or get left, man.
I don't see you with none of that on.
I just moved my stuff in the at the cleaners, man. Shout out Vibes Golf Club, man. This is the Role Player Podcast. Watch along, presented to you by Swiss Cultures. USA up big at the half. This one was over for real before it started. We on here having fun. Leroy Jones is with us. Hemi was with us, man. We got some good some good engagement. Make sure to drop your comments below if y'all want to join the chat. We might go into the stands, pull you on the show. But right now the game is about to start back on. One guest for you left, Aaron Radin, former CEO of the British Basketball League, here to talk about a master of content and production and just the commercialization of basketball in general. So we'll have him on here briefly as the third quarter gets underway, Blam. But listen, what's Brazil going to do, man? As they start off quick, get downhill. That seems to be just be aggressive. Is that the only thing they could do?
At this point, they're going to have to be more aggressive. I mean, you're down. I mean, here you are down with almost 30 points. So you're going to have to definitely pick up the pace and try to get some more possessions out of this game. I think the opportunity that they blew was when they cut this thing almost to single digits, that you had an opportunity to slow it down and see if you could be in the game going into the fourth quarter is what you want to do if you're playing against a big opponent like Team USA. Now they're just – it's only going to have to be prayers at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if they have enough scoring power in them to keep this game close and to keep up with USA's pace. It's going to be tough for these guys, man. But they got a 3-point line out there for a reason. So, you know, if I was them, I continue to, hoist up 3-pointers and hopefully somebody can get hot and turn that into a run. But really interesting for Brazil starting Iago dos Santos ahead of 41 Savage, Marcelino Huertas in the second half. I think they resting those old knees we've been talking about.
Man, that boy was tired. He said, "I gave it all I could, man." he left it all out there. Great screen right there by Bam. And the USA, man, they are playing a European style of basketball at times, which again, we always talk about the unselfishness, but that little high pick and roll, I thought that was unique. Steph Curry and LeBron in a pick and roll, man. We always talk about how good Draymond is in that. And then you see the pass, the screen from the screen from Bam and Bron found
Oh.
Devin Booker in the corner, man. That's impossible to stop. Like, imagine Bron and Steph in a pick and roll.
Is that something you want to see this year?
It is. I hope that the Warriors don't make a move and Steph demands a trade. Come to death row, Steph. What you talking about?
Here you go.
Pull up, man. Let's do this.
Here you go.
Come to death row.
Hey, there goes LeBron cutting to the basket. Who was saying LeBron don't cut? Who was saying LeBron don't cut to the basket, man?
Kwame and Rich.
Okay.
Man, fresh. I'm glad he heard us.
Hey,
That's
Bron
what happened.
James Senior.
He heard us.
Man, I've never understood that narrative that LeBron can't play off the ball. He played off the ball all the time in Miami.
No one's not saying that he can't. Listen, Jordan.
No, there definitely is. I'm not saying I'm talking about people are definitely saying
there's nothing that LeBron James can't do in the game of basketball. He can do everything. But if you're talking about winning the games, oftentimes when you're just a ball dominant player and everything has to play through you, that might not be the best way for your team to win the game. Like, sometimes you make your team better by screening away, by cutting, by playing off the ball, by being a decoy and letting other people share in the ball in the game. But if all you got to do is do like a possession like that, where you dribble it, create for yourself, and everyone else is spaced and spotted up, everyone else is relegated to just being a catch and shoot guy with the grenade as it goes down. That's not an easy thing to do. And the crazy thing to me is that everyone who doesn't play says, oh, man, it'd be easy to play with a guy. He's going to create you open shots. Those aren't the shots you want. You want to be involved in the action. You don't want to just stand around and be forced to shoot it when someone reluctantly gives it to you and say, shoot that ball. You want to shoot the shots that you're comfortable shooting.
reluctantly.
Yes, reluctantly. Absolutely. Reluctantly.
This idea again that this has been when LeBron has another playmaker, oftentimes he's removed himself from the ball throughout the course of his career.
But what are you doing when you're off the ball?
Go watch this dude in Cleveland and Miami when he had another ball handler. Like in LA, now all he does is like I don't again, my point was that I don't understand the idea.
Go watch all of us 10, 12 years ago and see what's going. That's a long time ago. But still, like, it's just part of the game.
Again, it's the idea that LeBron has been this guy who just dominates the ball solely and is ineffective off the ball throughout the course of his career. I don't think the point.
He done took it. I don't think anyone's saying he's ineffective. It's just a matter of like
plenty of people have said that. Several, matter of fact. Oh, that's crazy.
Bron's down.
Yeah.
He ain't brown. He ain't down, but he got poked in the eye. Oh, see, look at dude. See, this is where Bron be killing me. Get up, man. Walk over to the bench. He better be bloody.
Is this your king?
Look, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of greatness. I'm a fan of the game, man. Anybody that's great, I show it again. Show love. This is the Show Love podcast brought to you by Swish Cultures, Jordan Taylor, Anthony Goods, Richard Hendrix. Got another guest soon coming up for y'all, man. Aaron Radin with us, joining us here soon. Former CEO of the British Basketball League, and he's with us now.
What's going on, guys?
Happening? What's happening? A long list. Look, you don't have. I know, you're a very esteemed gentleman. But your Wikipedia page, is no MVPs, but we could give the rundown of your, elite list of accomplishments. Worked at the NBA for a long time, entrepreneur, founder, started companies, sold companies, very accomplished man. And Aaron Radin, give everybody your rundown, man. We normally do a really good intro. Give people intro. Tell people.
All right. Good to see you. Good to meet you, Rich.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm going to come back to your uniform point in a minute because you were right, but it's not
we don't need no old stuff on this show, man.
We love when we bring in guests that come that understand how things need to go. I mean, if you see me and Jordan, that's part of it. We had the back and forth, but you got to have some people that understand how things. So that's why we're glad we have you here. Thank you for joining us, Aaron.
No problem. So my background started at the NBA an awful long time ago, doing licensing deals. That's why I know about the uniform stuff. Worked at a bunch of big media companies, Disney, CBS, NBC, worked at Facebook for several years. and spent the last couple of years leading the British Basketball League, which was a blast. Gave me a chance to meet Jordan, among other things, and it was really fun and really had a great chance to really see what it was like to put together a content organization and see how much an impact it makes to really try and improve the quality of the game and see if you can get distribution and see if you can really drive a bunch of fandom around the world. So that was a lot of fun.
And speaking of, some say would be one of
Jordan handed me the trophy this year.
Yep. And then you see he got the suit on. What you think of his suit, Rich?
I think it looks professional. I think that's exactly what you want to have in a moment like that. I mean, here you are. It's a championship game. He's clearly serious about it. It means something to himself. It means something to the people. So why not dress up and bring your best in the best moment? That's what you do in the highest of levels. And I think it's a great touch to give out that trophy in the champions in the final.
Yeah, I don't think I could have pulled off Westbrook for that one. But
Man, I don't know if I would have taken the trophy. I might have just let you keep it.
So back to that point about the uniforms. Rich is actually right. Like, there's two different versions of the uniforms. The uniforms that they wear when you're playing are very, very light material, and they're meant to be performance.
Ooh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he caught him. And then the heavier ones that you're referring to are the ones that they used to be wearing on the court, but those are the ones that they try and put in the store, because when you walk into a store and you actually feel the material, you want it to feel like heavy feels important. It feels, like the material is richer. And so they try and do like not only the heavy material, but all the details. Like you're talking about the stitching, you have like the badge patch that goes on the bottom, that says it's authentic, the eyelets and all the sort of stuff on the uniform that they try and like add those details to make it feel more valuable and expensive.
That's what I said. I said, is the jersey in the store the same as the jersey that they wear in the game?
No, they're totally different.
Exactly. So again, Rich was wrong. Jordan was right.
No, he was right, because those used to be the ones that they were wearing on the court, but they've transitioned where you have like the ones where you wear on the court now are very different from the ones that are sold at retail.
Thank you.
Right. But again, we're talking about the quality of not which that's going to be better for retail, but the quality of which is going to be better to play in.
Oh, I mean, you guys would know better than me, but from what I see in terms of what they put into the materials and like the perforations, the holes and the breathing and like sweat wicking and how light they can make them, I would imagine that these are better from a performance standpoint today.
Yeah. Jordan, we already said that they were better from a performance standpoint, but if everybody's wearing the same jersey, it doesn't really matter. It's going to level out the playing field. The bigger point of it is the fact that you got a high quality jersey, and you look right there. This jersey, to me, that you see Team USA jersey wearing, that does look like a much better quality than they had in past. You talk about the braid on the side; it looks like it has a little bit more stitching, more material.
About this braid,
man. All of that kind of belt on the shorts.
Talking about this
the belt on the shorts, like all of that kind of stuff. It plays a role. It plays a role in what you deem as the seriousness of the uniform. I mean, you even see right there, what does it look like? Have an American flag on the belt? I mean, those type of details are what you want to see if you're playing in a real Olympic jersey. I don't want to be out there playing in something that feels like I can pick up at, any store. I want to have
the
something.
version of that they would be selling in the store at retail will be a different material. It'll be heavier.
Right.
It'll be heavier and it'll still have those details, but it'll be heavier.
Right.
Either way, man, we had
looks.
His jersey looks good. His jersey looks good, but they said Good said his favorite was 96, and Rich said his was 92. We got an interesting question though. Goods, go ahead and put that, Jamal, go ahead and put that question up, man, of Leroy Jones, the starting five to play against Team USA. Starting five to play against Team USA, only using players that have played in these quarterfinals. One player per nation. So what's the best? We'll let the guests go first. You know how the etiquette of the show. But what five would you put together from these quarterfinals? Obviously, non-USA.
I'll go with the easy one first. Jokic.
Jokic.
Actually,
all
if
right.
you guys watched the games earlier today, or
Yes.
even watching Jamal Murray the whole tournament, and you see like Jamal Murray looks like an average player without Jokic. And like maybe I'm exaggerating for illustration purposes, but like, wow, does he make him look better?
That's tough.
All right. So you going Jokic. Who else?
Shea.
Okay.
Probably Franz Wagner.
Yup.
Wemby. Definitely not Fournier. I gotta name one more from another country.
Said definitely not Fournier. Giannis.
Oh, Giannis, of course.
That's your 5. So Shea, Giannis, Jokic,
many big
Wemby, and who?
Shea,
Who is
Giannis, Jokic. Oh, I had Franz Wagner. I need another
and
guard.
Franz. All right. Well, nope, too late. You already picked good. So your team
That
about to
team's
get
winning
ran.
anyway. So it doesn't matter.
No, your team about to get ran. Goods, who you got, man?
Man, I probably have to roll with Wemby. I'm going Wemby. I'm going Jokic. I'm throwing Schroeder at the point. I'm throwing Shea at the 2. And then my 3-man. Yeah, we're gonna go big. Wemby's at the 3. We're going Giannis.
My goodness.
Giannis
Y'all
up
gonna
the
leave
4.
any players left?
You could take the same players. It's not like that.
I mean,
Yeah, we got rid of the draft a long time ago, Rich. You know what I mean? That was a couple episodes ago.
man,
We
for
got
real.
rid of the draft.
Yeah. We need to ask Aaron what he thinks on that one, Jordan. When you can pose that question, what he thinks about that suggestion.
That will be. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. He's here with us on the Role Player Podcast, Watch Along, presented to you by Swiss Cultures. Kind enough to join us from New York City. But before we do that, man, get to your starting 5. Stop stalling.
Guys, I hate to be the guy that just keeps copying everybody else, but you got to start with. I do think I'm going to take Giannis. Giannis and Jokic. I got to have both of them.
Oh, wow.
Let me think. You know what? Give me Giddey. I'm gonna take him. He looked really good today. I'm gonna take him. I mean, I got to give somebody some love. I can't have the same picks you guys had. I mean, the guy went off for over 25, 26 today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either him or Patty Mills. I don't know. I think I'm gonna take Giddey. Let's see. Who did I get? Do I have a point guard? Who do I have on this team?
Man, take Schroeder, man.
Schroeder. I'm about to go with Schroeder. I'm about to
Thank
go
you.
with Schroeder. I'm about to take
Thank you.
Schroeder, Giddey, Giannis, Greek Freak, and I need me a man. Let's see. The top 8. Let me see. Give me Franz. I'm gonna take Franz with it.
All right, fair enough. Franz, I think, was a good pick. I'm going to Aaron's point. I think, obviously average for Jamal Murray is a gross overestimation, but give me Jamal Murray and Jokic because together they have proven themselves. Give me Franz over there at the 3. Ooh, I probably will take Wemby alongside of Jokic. And then after that, at the 2, woo, goodness, that's tough, man. At the 2, who am I forgetting? We got Serbia, U.S., France.
Got Canada. Got
So
Canada.
Jamal Murray.
41
Greece.
Savage. 41 Savage.
Can't do that. Brazil, Greece. I might have ran.
Lucas played. He would be good.
Nah.
Lucas is injured.
Nah, them legs. Pride.
You can't see that's how, you know what I'm saying. Come on, you said Jamal Murray is average and Lucas would be good. That's no.
Jamal Murray's coming off the bench for Canada, and he wasn't looking like he plays with Denver. Well, a better way to say is Jokic makes everybody way, way, way better.
And I think Jamal Murray hasn't played international basketball in forever either. He didn't play last year at the World Cup. This is his first time, getting integrated with this team. And as we mentioned earlier on the Role Player live stream, it's tough for a lot of these guys who are used to being in more high usage roles to find success without the ball in their hands so much. So, I'll shoot Jamal Murray some bail there, but he hasn't performed up to his level at all.
Yeah, man. Aaron, talk about, man. We had
Good
you on,
question,
obviously. Yeah, great question, Leroy. Great question. I didn't get a 2-man in there, so I'll just throw somebody in there, man. Yeah, give me Yagos DeSantos, man, because I didn't give it to. I ran out of guys. My team getting ran, but that's all right.
No,
move
no,
up.
not answering.
Well, I answered the question, man. I answered the question. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get no slack from Rich, so I had to answer the question, man. Well, listen, man, Aaron, we had you on. You gave your resume. Obviously, did an amazing job with British Basketball League growing the content. I believe, I don't want to step out of turn, and you guys correct me, but I believe it's the first international league to be shown in throughout the United States, in multiple, at least definitely in multiple markets in the United States, which for Americans is probably one of the dopest things. We've kind of seen the popularity of European basketball grow, but just to be able, I had people hit me up from Buffalo Wild Wings when I was on games from Minneapolis, sending me pictures, which was a very cool thing being overseas. But just talk about, some of the success you had with the broadcast, and then talk about what you think about the rumor of Adam Silver moving the NBA to FIBA, and I guess how that's going to affect the commercialization of European basketball.
Sure. So, actually I might even turn it around to you guys, because you guys had, such long careers playing in Europe. And I'm sort of curious, like, your perception of like what you thought the telecasts were like, both on a local basis, and how much of a job did the leagues do in actually promoting you as players to the fans, like being able to tell your stories? Because that was one of the things when I think about sports in Europe. Obviously football, soccer is like the most dominant sport, and the way that fandom is developed in Europe around soccer is basically you're born rooting for a team, and that's who you're going to root for the rest of your life. It's like your born religion. And if you stop rooting for that team, you're defying your family. Whereas in basketball, like, yes, there's some of the hardcore fans that, clubs like, Panathinaikos and the Turkish clubs and so on. But, a lot of fandom in basketball, particularly in the US, is determined by the storytelling around the players. Like, people root for LeBron and they might follow him from team to team to team versus they're going to root for that team. And I'm curious, like, how much of that was done in, for yourselves or even the leagues that you were playing in, and how much of a difference do you think that would make? The other question I'd be curious about is, like, how much do you think basketball is like presented as entertainment in Europe versus like in the United States when you go into an NBA game or even a college game?
Rich, why don't you take it, man? Because I know you got big thoughts about that.
Oh, well, listen, I love the fact that I was just flipping through the channels one day and caught it on Valley Sports, just seeing a game, so to sit there and see the exposure in prime time of a European game, I thought was just great. I wish it would have been something that would have happened on the regular when I was playing. I thought the engagement was well. I thought the announcers did a really good job with the analysis. I thought for American, it was challenging, even though I did play so long in Europe, to relate to who the players were. I didn't know who the players were from a standpoint of, someone having some type of spotlight. That was the biggest thing that when I was watching, I'm saying, who are these guys? Because I just didn't know the teams. But from having the exposure of seeing it, I thought that was good. If there would have been some more of a little bit of a spotlight to let me know who these guys were, a little bit more background, I think that might have helped. I don't know how you can do that. Maybe you can do it a graphic quickly when a person is shooting a free throw, just to have something up there on the lower third. Because, I don't think if I would have, people are going to hang around and watch a game that long. But I thought that was great to see. I think also from a player perspective, of course we want to be shown. We want as much coverage as possible. We want to be seen. We want our people back home. I think the biggest thing as an international playing abroad is that we want respect. You want to be respected from your peers and everyone back home, because it's a notion that you're just playing overseas in the league is nothing. It's like NBA or bust. So the exposure was something that was huge. And I thought that y'all did a really good job of that with the promotion of it.
Yeah, I would say, I would say that it wasn't even respect for me. It's more, you just want to share it more. So like,
yeah,
there's nothing like going for 25 in in a Euro Cup game or 20-9 in a Euro League game, and you hype and you go home to an empty apartment and crack open a glass of wine and like, damn, and watch Home Alone because it's December 27th and you got practice tomorrow and you over there by yourself. Like, it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, basketball, as much as we talk about the NBA and some people say it's an entertainment league now, which it is in a sense, but basketball has always been entertainment. Like, I think there's it's a fine line between how far you take it, between entertainment and like the purity of it. But at the end of the day, it's an entertainment. It's for entertainment value. It's a kid's game. So yeah, I think that was the dope part. You could share it with people. You know, I had NBA players who are friends hit me up. I filed out in the British Basketball League finals, and I got friends hitting me up talking about how yo bum ass file out. Which even that is like they cracking, but it's still like, oh, you took the time to sit there and watch that. And that's just shout out Tyus Jones, man. That's my guy. But it was just dope. It's dope to see and dope to kind of have that.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I think that you're both right. Like, getting the validation is important in anything you do. Forget about basketball. And the storytelling about telling who the players is, Rich, is everything. And it's hard to do during the broadcast. And don't think that I wasn't yelling at the commentators in the background. Try and make sure that but it's hard to get those stories in. So like a lot of it is, building a bunch of story features, trying to run them in all different types of media. That's why I was kind of asking about was any of that stuff ever done in any of the leagues that you played in, and how did they do it?
I don't think so. I think you more so had from your own marketing department of each team to promote the program. But from the league, you might have had something, but it definitely wasn't something that they would be promoting internationally. So you might have something. I thought when I played in the Spanish HEB, they did a really good job of having their own weekly show that came on the local cable network over there. But, they did a lot more of a focus on, players that were Spanish and also players that were doing a really good thing. But I thought they had a great league because of that. And they could put the storylines together, the matchups, and that was something that the fans could look forward to. But once again, the platform of the digital platform and putting things on social media as an American is what we want. You want to see that someone can watch the feature on you, that someone can see that you had 20 points, that someone saw that you had a big win. And then the educational part from the commentators or the analysts or whoever's behind the production to teach the people the magnitude of the moment. Because when you're just watching the game, I think the typical American is just like, oh, it's just a basketball game. They don't know that's actually the league final going on, and they don't know how good these players are and what tier and what level this is abroad. So I think the educational part is huge for an American.
One of the things about European basketball, and particularly the way it's produced, is I think there can be a much better job of creating FOMO about what it's like to be at some of these places. And Ant did some great work. He did that partisan documentary or the rivalry in Belgrade documentary. And, just giving a sense of what it's like to be there. I think of the American broadcasters, I actually think NBC with their coverage of Premier League is one of the best at doing it. Because they make you what is it like to be at Anfield to watch a Liverpool game? Or what is it like to go to Old Trafford to watch Manchester United? And I think one of the biggest aspects, particularly of EuroLeague, is, I went to a EuroLeague final this year, and Panathinaikos, Real Madrid. The Panathinaikos fans were going crazy from 2.5 hours before the game until an hour after the game, nonstop.
Crazy.
Non-stop. And you just don't get a feeling of what it's like when you're watching the broadcast, and you can do I think that can really be improved if there's an emphasis on it. And I think that's one of the key aspects that differentiates basketball in Europe, for example, from basketball in the United States.
Yeah, I think you need somebody with a GoPro to kind of go in the ultra section to really get a feel for how crazy it is at some of those European games. But I totally agree with you. I think that watching basketball at 2:00, I think it's a gift and a curse for American basketball fans, because if you love basketball, it's great that you have it, but at the same time, as soon as you start seeing, if 1 out of 10 players on the floor, you're likely going to turn it away unless you have some type of connection to the player. Or, so I think the storytelling, selling the atmosphere, all of these things are going to be key. And I don't know if a lot of that can be done without, you need social media, and then you also need, other people to take part that, like let's say an NBA player chiming in, talking about it, and that type of thing. Once they see others enjoying it, I think then it's easier for basketball fans to buy in.
Yeah. Well, there's actually one other aspect about playing at 2:00 in the afternoon, which is, and it's not really talked about much with sports as an entertainment factor, but it's a gambling aspect. And, the bookmakers want live action at all hours of the day. More live events that you put on, the more opportunity there is for people to bet.
They want degenerates. They want degenerates, man. I think honestly, I don't even know if you need a GoPro. I think like they need to turn the volume up on these EuroLeague bro. It's not like they turn the volume down.
I was just going to say
like just turn the volume up, man. I don't understand why you're trying to keip it quiet in that.
The EuroLeague productions, the commentators are not on site. That doesn't mean that they can't have mics in the crowd, though.
Yeah, and there's also a way. Is there a way that you can, even if the production's not on site, you can still turn the volume up?
Oh yeah, of course. You can have various microphones. It's where you place the microphones. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, talk about, man, like, what is this news again from Adam Silver? Is this a hostile takeover, or is this a collaborative effort? Like, what's your take on that without getting you in trouble?
Well, yeah, at this point, it doesn't appear to be a collaborative effort. I mean, EuroLeague obviously has the core, whatever it is, 13 teams. And, I think there had been, and I think it was even reflected in the press that came out over the past couple of days, that NBA and FIBA had been interested in collaborating. I think, the European competitions that go on are frankly confusing between EuroLeague, Euro Cup, FIBA Euro Cup, FIBA Champions League. Then there's even some other leagues. It's like, it's hard to really keep track of who's doing what and which is better. And, EuroLeague obviously is the highest level, but beyond that, it gets very confusing. The other thing is that, so in terms of the NBA, might the NBA pick off some of those teams to form their own league? I think that, when you look at basketball, and this is why I think the NBA is particularly interested, and it was reflected in some of the articles, like basketball is probably the second most popular sport across Europe. And it's probably one of the worst monetized sports across Europe on a relative basis. Like, for example, on an average per fan basis in revenue, soccer makes 16x what basketball does, just per fan. That's not like total revenue
in Europe.
In Europe, rugby, cricket, tennis all make like 8x what basketball does. And I think a lot of that has to do with what we were talking before, like the quality of the commercial coverage. I do think that the countries where basketball was most popular in Europe are actually not, they're relatively small economically from a television countries, right? So Lithuania or Serbia or Greece or Turkey, like, you're not going to generate huge television revenue from those places. So, a huge part of the prospective success and why I think the NBA is interested in is, developing those markets, but then taking that product and being able to export it internationally into other markets. And so, if you create, the presence of these teams, and, the NBA model is very, very different than the European model from a licensing standpoint. The NBA controls all of the trademarks of all of the teams in terms of the merchandising. Whereas, EuroLeague, Real Madrid controls whatever they're going to do. Barcelona controls whatever they're going to do, Bayern Munich, and so on. And so when you go in and you say, like, we're going to start from our model, we're going to control the rights, and we're going to control the product, it gives you an opportunity to then say, okay, can we export this product on a global basis? And, from a marketing standpoint, they have a big leg up because, can you create a competition where, this proposed NBA Europe ends up playing, let's say, a cup competition every year against NBA teams. You got NBA teams, we're gonna have the finals in Paris or London or Berlin or wherever.
Do you think, Aaron, do you think that is an issue though? Because you mentioned talking about those markets. We're talking about Paris, we're talking about London, you're talking about certain cities that to American viewers is something that is very, very popular, but that's not necessarily where the best fan bases are. And how do you judge the fan base? Do you judge the fan base on what's making the money or the basketball fans? So if you were to say the best places might be somewhere in Serbia, some of the teams that were in that the Adriatic League that they had years ago, where do you put these markets as far as to still cover the fans having the experience and getting the economic aspect of it?
I think that's a real tricky part, and it's probably a big part why it's in quote exploratory analysis right now. Like if you're going to start something from scratch, when you look at market sizes, you're absolutely going to want to go into the biggest markets without a doubt. And how do you integrate, to your point, bringing the flavor of what's it like? Well, Athens is a big market, but what's it like to have the Panathinaikos, Olympiacos crowd, partisan crowd, and have those be part of the schedule? But you want to be telecasting that into the bigger markets,
right?
And being able to tell those stories into the bigger markets, and to have if you had an NBA International Cup event in Belgrade, and be able to show what that audience looks like, that might attract people to then be following what's going on over there.
But how are you gonna do that without Partizan, without Red Star? If you're a league already monopolizes these major markets and the teams that are located in these markets, is the NBA gonna start up a whole?
I think part of the challenge is that it really depends on what your timeline is. If you looked at like on a 5-year time horizon, like, yes, that's going to be challenging because you have to almost invent new audiences, or you have to basically get those teams to come into your league. If you have like a 50-year time horizon, for example, and you're willing to create new intellectual property and say, I'm going to create the Madrid Matadors and the London Royals or whatever, and the Paris Croissants, then you're creating new franchise IP that you can build up over time. And if you have the patience and the will and the capital to go through that process, I would expect that you'd have the opportunity to build those audiences, because these guys are experts at the storytelling. They're going to attract the teams over and the audiences over time, and the fact that you have the opportunity to allow them to play against the best teams in the world.
Well, Aaron, what would you have to say from the salary standpoint? I mean, you're trying to market and get in certain teams, but certain markets might not have the money to pay for the best players. How do you get those markets to have the best players, the best coaches, the best facilities, so you can then tell the stories and utilize the markets and the fans to promote it?
It's a great question. And I think, part of the challenge of the economics of EuroLeague, for example, are like the salary levels are disconnected from the reality of the economics of the league. And it's why, just about every EuroLeague team loses money. Because, who are those EuroLeague teams competing against for players? They're not competing against Eurocup teams. And, with a couple of exceptions, most of the guys, if they could play in the NBA, they're going to be playing in the NBA. And that's really the last competition. So, the delta in salaries between
Japan probably.
Yeah, Japan, for example. Japan's but to put a Euro Cup team together versus what it costs to put a EuroLeague team together, it's like 10x.
Yeah, I mean, I think too with the experience of being involved with the BAL. I'm sure the NBA has a plan as far as how they're going to do it. I'm just surprised, kind of like Jordan was saying, if the fan bases are of importance, I'm surprised they wouldn't just start in Asia,
absolutely,
as opposed to Europe.
And that's as this game wraps up. Talking about spreading the green red worldwide, as Team USA wraps it up with a convincing win of 122-87 over Brazil. 6 players in double figures, led by Devin Booker with 18, Anthony Edwards 17 points, LeBron James 12, Joel Embiid 14, Kevin Durant 11, and Anthony Davis with 13. Caboclo with 30 points for Brazil. United States will move forward into the semifinal round as they will take on Serbia, another rematch. We talked about that one earlier. Aaron, what do you think about Team USA in this performance and what they will have to do against Serbia, playing them for the 3rd time in 14 days?
I think just not get too 3-point happy. And, probably the only way the U.S. loses is they shoot themselves out of a game by trying to, jack up threes. And the other team goes bananas from 3-point.
That's exactly what I said in the beginning of the show. Ain't that something?
15 for 31 for 3, 48%.
Is that what you said?
That's exactly what I said, Jordan Taylor.
Man, we got Jamal. Pull that clip back. Is Jamal back there? Did we send Jamal home yet? We didn't. We must have. Jamal went home early, man. We must have sent Jamal home. But yeah, we gonna have to.
15 for 31 for 3. Team USA in this game. So, I mean, knocking it down. Also 17 for 19 from the free throw line. 45 for 78, almost 60%. 57% from 2, 48% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. That type of shooting performance, I mean, no one's going to be able to beat the United States if they're able to shoot at that type of clip. No, I mean.
Well, they're not going to shoot that way every game. But there's only 2 left. That's all you got to do.
Who's the biggest challenger? We've been through this. We've exhausted this, but who's your biggest challenger to the U.S.? France, Serbia, or Germany?
It's looking like Germany at the minute. They've been playing great. They seem to mesh well together. They got guys that could shoot the ball. They have one of these games where they shoot, 50% from 3, get a lead, and U.S. gets tight and tries to go one-on-one. I don't know. That seems like the only formula for something to happen, but.
And then the Schroeder show, y'all ain't trying to see that man. Y'all ain't trying to see that man late game.
Good,
Schroeder on the international stage. Y'all ain't trying to see that man late game.
Shout out Dennis Schroeder, man. Tough player. He about to go 7 for 19.
Jamal tripping.
Jamal is tripping, man. Jamal, we not paying Jamal enough.
Jamal, hand in your papers, man, at the end of the show, man. That picture's horrible.
Yeah, but nah, man, it was a real pleasure having you on. Always friend of the podcast, Aaron Radin, man. Appreciate you spreading your knowledge. We definitely going to have you back because I think that conversation about just the commercialization of basketball in general. We didn't even get to Africa and where that fits into this equation because it's really interesting, honestly. It's a conversation I think that people need to have and hear, specifically when you have mixing that conversation with the harping on the development of the youth in U.S. So I think people in the U.S. need to understand what's coming. Like, they're no longer farming players from the U.S. system. They're going to Africa. They're obviously going to Europe. They're going, and I think that's part of development is understanding that this is not really a game anymore. This is really a business.
Yeah, well, you had Omot in before. I mean, think about the players that they're going to be developing out of Africa. Forget it.
Yeah.
Hey, we talked about this, Aaron. Let me ask this one. Is the draft, this is a question we talked about on the pod. Is the draft outdated? Do you think they should go to some other method of getting players into the NBA? Is this still the best players to come to the league?
I mean, let's take out the talent piece for a moment, just the spread of talent and trying to create equity across the teams. The bigger issue is the way that the collective bargaining agreement is designed. It's designed to control and cap salaries, and I think part of the challenge is that, and I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but to have general managers adopt to a system where you have a set amount of payroll that you're basically going out and bidding on an open market for players. I think it just becomes really challenging. If you went into this, let's take this year's draft, for example. who would have been bidding for the players that got drafted 1, 2, 3, and whatever? And what would they have gotten versus what would Wemby have gotten?
I don't think this was a weak draft. They wouldn't have been bidding too high for these players compared to
Exactly.
Wemby.
So I think, part of the challenge is like, what would Wemby have gotten? Would he have gotten the equivalent of the max?
Close to it. I think they would have gave it to him off.
You think
rip,
so?
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
They would have given the max off rip.
Who would have got him? Because I mean, do you remember who would have got? I mean, it doesn't matter. Continue.
Well,
San
who's the highest
Antonio.
paid player in the league today? Steph, or what is Steph on? 60?
60. Tatum's on 70.
Tatum-
San
Tatum.
Antonio, did they have the most cap space? Is what I'm saying, because it might have been.
Well,
someone
that's kind of my point.
Right.
Is like, how do you prepare yourself? And I think it's just going to change the dynamic where, like, okay, next year Cooper Flag is coming out, and if you're a team that wants to say, okay, Cooper Flag is going to be the best thing since sliced bread, I'm going to do everything I possibly can. You've got to clear so much cap room in order to be able to have a chance to get him on your team. And then, if you're Cooper Flag, then, you're a free agent. And theoretically, you could pick wherever you want to go. Maybe I want to play for the Lakers for $10 million less or whatever. And I don't know. I just think that it's, there's an order and a rhythm to how players are added to teams that the draft creates. I think opening up to free agency creates a challenge. I mean, in soccer, there's a very different system, right? You have these academies, they come up to the academies, and basically you're buying and selling players. Players are assets. It's a very different type of model. And that's possible that you could have that model, and then the teams are then incentivized to do their own player development. And then you're going to have, the Denver Nuggets hanging out at the schoolyard trying to recruit fifth graders.
And what's wrong with that? I mean, a little pushback. What would you see as the negative of that? And from a standpoint that now you don't have the stigma of players who are drafted very high with these expectations of the draft number, and then you have people who are saying they don't stand up to what the reputation was, or are they considered busts, or whatever people would say. You have players that can develop at their own pace, and it's proven that your better teams have older players. And
I think the NBA has already voted on this issue, and I don't say voting in sort of a democratic way. I think they've chosen their path, and so like you guys all played high level AAU. I coached AAU. Like, there's a lot of let's call them questionable characters hanging around young kids, trying to tell them where to go and what to do, and oftentimes that lead to their detriment. And theoretically, if you had, NBA infrastructure and NBA management and professionalism, and those were the guys that actually had all of the control to do that. The problem is, like, from a business and scaling standpoint, like the NBA, why should they be in a position where they should be investing their resources to do that when they're going to get the players anyway in the end? Whatever the path is that gets them there, it's sort of irrelevant to the NBA. It's just that they get there in the end.
Yeah.
How do you keep going? Sorry, finish.
No, I'm just going to say, like, would it help in their actual development of their skills? Maybe not. Really hard to say. I'm not sure I wholly agree. Like, I don't know that there's enough evidence to say like the European system of developing players is better than the U.S. system of developing players, or vice versa. To me, like, one of the most important things is you play against good competition. And yes, of course, skill development, but like, it's very different, like working with the trainer and doing skill development and playing against top players at, incredible speed and strength and so on, to, developing your skill level. And, is the NBA going to invest the amount of resources that it costs to do that, across the US, much less on a worldwide basis? I doubt it. In fact, they're not going to do it. So
the NBA, I mean, that's a different kind. The development in America, I don't know why that's a debate. The best players in the world are from Canada and are from North America. They're all getting American. 98% of the best players in the world are from North America. But that being said, at what point does the NBA stop? Like, what's too much, and how do you reconcile again the idea of this big conglomerate versus, the purist? And when do you start kind of giving back to the fans and giving back to the development? And
I think part of what part of what you need to think about in terms of the NBA's ambitions in Europe really has much more to do with what are the paths for growth for the league going forward. And now that the television deal is done for the next, 11 years, the NBA needs to demonstrate to their ownership base, the owners of the clubs, where are we going to generate growth beyond this television deal from? And so the logical places to look are Europe, where, as I mentioned before, the average fan is wildly under-monetized. So you have to think that there's potentially upside. And, in order to realize that upside, I can totally empathize with their desire to be in control of that effort to do that. And the other path would be prospectively, from a funding standpoint, the Middle East. And those are the places that they appear to be focused on at the moment. And that's logical when they have to present a growth path, because the owners of these clubs are going to want to realize a return on investment when they ultimately go to sell these teams. And you have to have a growth path to demonstrate that.
Aaron, how much, from a business standpoint, how much does the game matter? How much would they say they're looking at the game, the development of the players, the competition of the players as far as what they are putting in to get to that point and being rewarded from their efforts? How much of a percentage would you say that matters to the model?
I think it's a really tricky question. And the answer is I'm not 100% sure. You're not going to get the best players in the world to play in any league other than the NBA. It's just not going to happen. Like, you might have, the odd player that shows up in Europe that theoretically is, extraordinary and maybe could, play in the NBA as an 8th or a 7th or maybe even a 6th man or maybe a starter, but they're not going to be one of the true superstars in the league. It's just unlikely. And the revenue base won't justify it unless there's, some extraordinary circumstance from a living situation where they need to be in Europe, for example. So, from an entertainment standpoint, I think watching the games is very entertaining, particularly if you're a basketball fan. The challenge is, going back to my point about creating emotional or emotive connections to what's going on the court is, I get that, and most fans do, because they identify with a particular player. They root for or against that player, and they start, they begin to identify with their story. And, on a local basis, you'll have people that'll root for a particular team because they're from their particular region. And in Europe, that's even more exacerbated. And there's, thousands of years of history that reflect why people are very territorial in terms of rooting for what their local group is. But I think, Rich, that the key is you have to create those human connections. And part of the challenge, and it's not the game as much as it is the movement of the players, is that the players move so much in Europe that you don't have time for somebody to create fandom for the guy who's playing in my city one year, and the next year he's in another country, and I can't even watch him on television anymore, much less follow what's going on with that guy. So, I think that there needs to be more stability in how long the players stick around in these markets, because that creates the opportunity to be able to create those connections.
Absolutely. All right.
And you guys all jumped around year to year to year to year.
Yes.
Well, it used to be too, where EuroLeague did have to compete with Euro Cup for players. You would see, Rich was on one of the best Euro Cup teams of all time. That was really probably better than, I don't remember that year, but probably better than at least 12 to 15 of the EuroLeague teams.
We were a playoff team, easily a playoff team, a potential Final Four caliber team in EuroLeague, and several, years I was on Euro Cup teams that was that way, but that really
that just changed about 3-4 years ago.
How many times did you guys sign multi-year deals?
Wow, that doesn't happen in the
I did.
Americans.
I did a couple times in my career. I did. I mean, but
it's pretty. You're more the exception than the rule,
right?
I think So let me ask you a question, Rich. In the places that you stayed for multiple years, did you feel like you established deeper connections with those fans because you were there longer than the ones that you were like one and done?
Oh yeah. And as I moved forward, like I played 3 seasons in Maccabi Tel Aviv. I played 3 in Lokomotiv Kuban in Russia. And, I came back after 2 years in Tel Aviv and came back. But I always looked at it, had I stayed there for more than 2, because I was in negotiations to go back for another 3, then, as you mentioned, the fandom, the connection would have been even stronger.
Yeah.
And he also with the time period too, the social media has played such a big role in the connection with it. My time was early in 2010 to 2012. If that was moved forward 5 years later, then that would have changed everything, just with the exposure and things like that. But it's big for the human aspect too, to have that connection, that familiarity with one team plays a big role, plays a huge role.
Improves performance and all that.
Everything.
I signed 2 2-year deals and got hurt on the back end both times, and it changes everything.
And it changes the perception. The perception of you is what changes more than anything, because once you got to get viewed as a journeyman, which everybody's a journeyman, they think the problem's with you. And the guys that have the stability are viewed as like these players that are so good that bring teams together, and they're the reason for winning championships. But more often than not, the same teams in different countries win the championship. So it's an organizational thing more so than not just the individual.
Yeah. So, as we're talking about this, I would imagine that one of the considerations if the NBA is to develop a league is to have, to sort of get away from this jumping around and have commitments of players to spending, 2 to 4 years or whatever the contract lengths end up being, but certainly, be able to invest more than 1 year to be able to build them up in their respective communities.
Yeah. And I mean, that exists for European guys. Obviously with the American market in Europe is probably one of the most, especially in EuroLeague, is maybe more competitive. I'd say it might be harder to get into EuroLeague and stick than it is to get into the NBA. I don't know what I'm trying to say with that, but I don't know how I could justify that, I should say. But if you played, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like there's 90 slots. There's 90 EuroLeague spots for Americans, and you're competing with NBA guys as well, and then competing with guys from Europe as well. So it's a highly competitive market. But this is the Role Player Podcast Watch Along, presented to you by Swish Cultures. Richard Hendrix, Anthony Goods, Jordan Taylor. We had Aaron Radin on with our guest. We had Noni Omot. Aaron, appreciate you joining us, a friend of the pod.
Guys.
Great conversation about the business of basketball, among other things. We'll definitely have you back on to continue. We got to sign off. We went way past the game, but that's all right. We know y'all are clamoring for all the content.
U.S. versus Mongolia women's wrestling now.
U.S. versus Mongolia women's wrestling. If y'all want to stick around for that, U.S. gonna want for that one. Nah, we don't have that, man. We don't have that. But listen, man, make sure y'all follow along on all social media. That's at the Role Player Media for Role Player Podcasts on all outlets, and then at Swish Cultures for all Swish Culture content. Again, we appreciate you pulling up. Keep joining, keep following along for content, and we'll catch y'all next time.